Kanta ji. Welcome to the Transformer series on women leaders. It's a pleasure talking with you today.
Thank you, Sudhir, and thank you for inviting me for this discussion.
In one of your earlier interviews, in fact, you have mentioned that this is actually the best time to be born a woman and
Yes,
perhaps great to be a woman today.
it
So
is.
how do you, I'm very keen to understand from you, how do you feel things have changed for women in their homes, at workplace, and in the society as a whole? And how do you see things evolving further over the next, 10 to 15 years? What's your view on that?
I stand by what I said. This is seriously a great time to be born a girl. One is technology has played a great role in carrying motivational stories to women, even in rural areas. So it's not difficult now for a young girl to see a woman flying aircraft. We have highest number of commercial pilots in the world, women pilots, I mean. We have women who are flying fighter jets. We have women who are walking the streets. I'm not saying freely, but at least more women on the streets. We have women leading contingents. There's not even a single sector where women are not there now. So that has changed. When I was growing up, there was one Kiran Bedi who was cited everywhere. Indira Gandhi was still talked about. Right now, everywhere you see women leaders. And through stories, through media, through different channels, we come to know about how they have achieved what they have achieved. So there is no dearth of role models. So that is one. Second thing is, I think parents have started realizing the value of education, and to some extent, they don't differentiate that much between a boy and a girl. Of course, and I don't want to talk about what is still ailing. I'll talk about that later. But also, I think girls, once given an opportunity, are proving themselves on daily basis. You see school results, you see college results, you see how they perform at job. It's just that our parents and our society still doesn't allow girls to be who they want to be. So there are still social and cultural norms that guide women's lives um, on what they wear, who they go out with. Also, when they get married, when do they have children? What is the right age for everything? I think those norms are still deciding a number of things for girls. And at a certain age, they still drop out and they can't work. But I think right now we are in a transit situation. Girls have started to speak up and say, I don't want to get married right now. And I'm not saying that's the majority of the girls, but different surveys have different numbers. They say that, and I see around me here in office many women who have decided by choice not to get married, or if they have gotten married, they don't want to have children right now. So they are giving priority to their careers, which is changing. And going forward, I think with the right incentives and right education, girls will start realizing their full potential. I'm very hopeful that it's not very far when girls will rule the world.
Excellent.
I'm sounding over optimistic because
It's great to see your enthusiasm. I think it's really, really very infectious. But I must mention that, still a lot of surveys and
yes,
research show
yes.
that women representation in leadership positions still continues to be considerably low.
Yeah, it's a journey, Sudhit. You see, violence is one of the major issues that I consider as a barrier to women
Mhm.
and their leadership and their rights. Violence at home, violence in public spaces, violence in cyberspace is a major problem. Lack of property rights, not rights, I mean, they have rights, but lack of property in their name is another structural barrier that women face. Of course, 35% girls are still out of school as compared to 25% boys. But I'm saying this gap is narrowing because of very, I'll say, women-friendly policies, because of women's own earnings they are having assets in their name. They are buying homes in their names. They are buying cars in their names. And also seeing others, probably girls are also changing their mindset. So there are still challenges. It's a journey. That's why I'm saying that they are equal now, and they'll never be equal. And sorry if I sound stupid by saying that why are we comparing ourselves with men? That they'll be equal to men. In many respects, they're already better. So why should we have lower benchmarks in terms of equality? We should have our own sense of equality the way we define it. What is it that we want from the world? What is it that we're looking for? Will I be happy if I get equal to men? How do you define that equality? No, you can't. So by our standards, if we consider that we have reached there and we have fulfilled all our aspirations, I think that is the time. I'm not going to say that they'll be equal to men because I'm not competing myself or comparing myself with a man. No.
Fair enough. I think, and that's a refreshing way of looking at it, if I may say so.
Yeah.
Uh, but one of the things that also comes to mind, and I think, and this is more talking about, women in leadership positions in organizations, in various organizations, whether they are corporates, whether they are civil society organizations, whether they are government institutions. Uh, People say that now perhaps it's important for women to take up leadership positions and seats of influence.
Yeah.
So I wanted to understand from you is what is it that how will they change? How would organizations and ecosystems look different if there is more representation of women in leadership positions, and especially in organizations which haven't seen that representation for many years and decades in leadership positions for women?
Sudhir, I never talk about women bringing different kind of leadership at all. Why I don't talk about it, that then we are already putting women under pressure. If the rules of the game are same for both men and women, why would we expect something different? That's number one. Secondly, some of the things that we talk about, that women have this more or men have this less, and are all imaginary things, to be honest. This is learned behavior. Men can be caring, men can be very, very kind, men can be more gentle, men can be more, say, diligent. Just because we let them go scot-free to say he's a man, he does this, right? Or a woman is more hardworking, woman is more sincere, woman is this. This is all learned behavior. This is not biological. It's all social and culture. So I'm saying if both men and women realize that a different kind of leadership is required, I think both of them could learn it. Because if you compare any leader, whether it is an organization or a bureaucrat or an industrialist or a woman at grassroots level, if you compare two people and their style of leadership, and if you get influenced by one and not by the other, that is the style of leadership that we're looking at. There's no set definition of a leader. A woman who has been able to raise her children single-handedly and has also set up a shop and has employed 10 women there, she's also a leader. Sometimes she would have been tough. Sometimes she would have been, probably she would have shouted at somebody. But nobody can define that she's not a leader. Who are we to define that? Yeah. So I think the basic problem is with the definition of leadership. Who's a leader? And to me, the leader is who, firstly, a leader has to have followers, if not literally following them, but also somebody who believes that what she's doing or he's doing is right. Also, leaders empower others. Also, leaders listen. And that kind of leadership could happen at any level, Sudhir. We don't have to have a five-star hotel, job, or we don't have to have an office. We don't have a C-suite. We don't have a five-window room to be called a leader. Everyone who is trying to influence others' lives positively and is playing an active role in that is a leader to me. And that's how I think we should start defining and leadership. And that's how then our women leaders particularly will start getting counted. Otherwise, we don't even consider them as leaders. So time has come when we also start looking at these definitions and not get carried away by who has been considered a leader otherwise.
And do you think there are some things still inhibiting women to take up leadership roles, or do you think that that is now changing and there are enough women emerging and taking up?
Absolutely, there are, and they're aspirational. They want to be, in the traditional sense of the word, they want to be leaders. They want to take the responsibility. I think, and they do a great job of that. And the data from around the world says that women have, wherever there are women leaders, the companies have done better, the countries have done better. But again, I'm saying where I started that why should we put that burden on women? I really don't think we should do that. By learned behavior, by conditioning, by the way we think as women today, we we try to be better, and because we are under pressure to say, hey, now there's a woman leader, let's see what she does. And so we put in more effort, but it's very taxing on women. If you allow them to be natural leaders, if a man dies and a woman has to take care of the children, see her leadership skills. See how she navigates her relatives. See how she navigates the public life, that she has to go out of the house and work and bring money to her children. And also evening, then she has to console her children and say, forget about everything else. Just keep your head down and keep working. We will reach somewhere. That's leadership, right? So I'm sure women are ready for a bigger role in public life, if that is what you mean by leadership. Um, Also, we are a little too harsh and judgmental on women. Yesterday, we had a discussion on women's political leadership, Sudhir, and people were saying women need to be trained. And I said, yeah, yes, but we don't check men parliamentarians. They don't speak a word in the parliament in 5 years, and we are not sitting in judgment for them. But we start passing comments on a Hema Malini when she speaks, because she's a woman, because she's a celebrity, because we have our own notion of how she should speak. We are being very harsh on them, right? We don't look at men who come and sleep in the parliament. So I'm saying we use different yardsticks for men and women leaders. That's not how it should happen.
Thank you so much, Kantaji. Thank you for
Thank
your
you. Thank you, Sudhir.
and have a good evening.
Thank you very much.